Hi again, Browns fans. Welcome to the best podcast available. Episode number 15. I'm Jason Gibbs alongside Andrew Gribble. Jeff McDaniel behind the scenes, spinning the dials. Coming up on the program today, rookie running back Demetric Felton out of UCLA, our 6th round pick, will join the program and to talk a little bit about Rookie Minicamp, his experiences, and the craziness of the last couple weeks from draft day to ending up here in the city of Cleveland for Rookie Minicamp weekend. Gribbs, a much different look for Rookie Minicamp in 2021. It was good to have a Rookie Minicamp. 18 players in the building. 8 of them were drafted, 5 undrafted, 3 tryouts, and then 2 non-rookies but considered first-year guys. 18 players in all spending the weekend here in Cleveland with the coaching staff. And it was a great weekend, especially on Friday. The weather was perfect, and I know it was just an hour workout that we got to see, but a lot to see and a lot to take in, and it's always good when that opportunity comes.
Yeah, it was an example of something that I think we're doing a lot of over the last year, and maybe we'll learn more about this in 2022, but I thought as much as it maybe wasn't the best thing to watch because it was they weren't really doing much football stuff. It seemed like it was a lot of individual stuff, a lot of teaching, not a ton of movement, honestly, just a lot of small drills, learning, everything like that. Not the best to watch. But part of me wonders, is this the future of rookie minicamps? And I say that in that this was a unique experience where, I think you guys have mentioned this a bunch on CBD. James Hudson was the only offensive lineman out there. He got one-on-one tutorial for 3 straight days on field in meeting rooms with Bill Callahan, Scott Peters, the whole crew. I mean, that is stuff that will not happen again the rest of his time with the Browns. There's always going to be other people in the room, and it's really a good chance for the coaches to get to know what they have with their rookies, and really just the one-on-one teaching. You can get a lot done in that time period. And maybe this doesn't correlate to other positions. Maybe it's better, say, if you're a wide receiver, to not be the only one running routes and doing stuff like that. Maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe it's better to have a bunch of different defensive backs to go up against each other. But part of me wonders, is this the end of the era of just filling your rookie minicamp with like 50 tryout guys to just make it look like a football practice? Because I think that this was an incredibly valuable weekend for these players and now puts them on a good path forward to kind of make the most out of their rookie season. And frankly, they're getting opportunities now that the previous rookie class just didn't have.
Yeah, and not only that, plenty of reps. It's interesting when you bring up, is this the future or not the future? I mean, our roster is loaded.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We got a lot of guys. Would we have the same attitude if we were Jacksonville?
Right.
I mean, I think it's hard to determine if it works for everybody or not, but from a learning standpoint, I don't think it can be questioned. I mean, these guys were literally the focal point for 3 consecutive days.
Yeah, and there is obviously some downsides. I mean, with the group the Browns had, you can't even do 7-on-7. I mean, that's limiting, and I think that's something that you didn't see. I mean, back when we used to watch Rookie Minicamp a few years ago, I mean, it was just like a normal practice outside of no pads, no hitting, things like that. But it looked like a football practice. And so that's the obvious downside of this. I just wonder now if going forward, you take a more targeted approach, especially when you're a contending team like the Browns. So you kind of figure out what you have and get that one-on-one experience with your rookies before the vets join the mix in the coming days.
All right. Is there a big takeaway from the weekend, from what we saw for the hour? Is there something that stood out in a press conference with someone, whether it was a player or with Coach Stefanski?
I think to me, what stood out was the happenings of Friday as the one big news event was you saw the unmasking of some of these coaches. I think it was like a symbolic sign of progress of where we're at in managing the pandemic. And we now have our first pictures of Kevin Stefanski maskless on our website that we just haven't had over the past years. I think that was a takeaway. I think, as mentioned by a lot of people, the physical presence of Malik McDowell was something that really stood out. I mean, that is a guy that you understand why he was a 2nd-round pick a few years ago. And obviously a lot of stuff has happened with Malik over the past few years, but appears to be in a good spot now and is going to have to compete. And I think you can look the part, but we've seen a lot of guys look the part, but it doesn't translate onto the football field. So it's going to have to translate onto the football field, but he's entering a position competition where if he's good enough, he's going to make it. And I think that we'll see how that plays out. But I think physically he looks ready to go. We'll see what carries out in the competition. And honestly, outside of the news with Tony Fields, with him dealing with a foot injury, I think all these guys came through the weekend healthy. That's always a takeaway from rookie minicamp. So these guys are in a good spot to get into this OTA portion of the offseason program and put themselves in a good position to start learning the offense, learning the defense, and getting comfortable being on a team that is going to be a contender. And I think that the standards are high, and they know that for a lot of these guys, it's real uphill battles to earn any playing time. And for some of even the top guys, all these guys are going to have to earn their spot on in terms of the rotation.
Well, and I think when you take a look at things that stood out or what stood, what someone said, what Kevin Stefanski had to say about 2020 is over. Like, we need to stop talking about it. In our building, we need to move on from it. The media needs to move on. Like, that happened last year. And I think his message to the rookies, and I think it will be a little bit of a challenge maybe to the veterans. It's easy to sit back and go, wow, look at the year we had. And, we're just going to build off of that. Well, you can in certain aspects, but the biggest thing you need to do is wipe the slate clean, and literally you're starting on the ground floor. And I think that was a big message that I took away from him last week in his press.
Yeah. And the schedule makers didn't do the team any favors with forgetting about 2020, because I think that I think the players already got asked about it. Stefanski's been asked about it multiple times now. You've got that opening matchup with the Chiefs, and that's going to bring back all sorts of conversation memories of the past season. You're seeing where you're at from last year to this year. It's just going to that's the one matchup that if you're trying to wipe away 2020, that's the one you didn't want on there. So I think that's going to be the mental hurdle that this team is going to have to carry. And I think that for a lot of these players who have been around since 2019, you coming off two awful season opening performances. I mean, that truly dreadful season opening performances the last 2 years. So I think the focus should be, you got to show up better than you've shown up the last couple of years. And I think the vast majority of these players have been on the team since 2019. And I think that should be the sense of urgency, not playoff revenge. You just got to represent yourselves better when the season gets going.
The other big takeaway, you mentioned Malik McDowell, but that position had the most players in terms of working with coaches at rookie minicamp. You've got Marvin Wilson, you got Malik McDowell, you got Tommy Togiai. They all bring something different, and all three of them were very impressive looking in the way they handled their business and just their stature on the football field.
Yeah, three completely different body types, and three in terms of what you're looking for at the position. And it's three guys that probably are going into this thinking, I've got a good shot at contributing. And I think that we'll see how this plays out, especially when you mix in some of the veterans. We haven't seen Andrew Billings on the field for the Browns since he's been with the Browns. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to bring to the mix. But, Marvin Wilson picked this spot over, I'm guessing, most every other NFL team because he thought there was a realistic chance he could get on the field. And I think he's someone that has played at a high enough level that he should believe that. And I think Tommy Togiai is a 4th round pick, is another guy that thinks he should have a good enough chance to at least get in the rotation. And then you've got the returning guys. Jordan Elliott is going to want to play more than he did last year. I think Andrew Billings is especially with the movement you've had at the position, he should come in expecting that he should be a veteran that this team should rely on. Damian Square has made NFL teams year in, year out as a solid player in this league. I mean, there's a lot of options at that position. Maybe not the front end elite options that you want at that defensive tackle position, but the Browns have definitely attacked this position with numbers. And I would almost compare it to what they did last year at corner. You flooded that position with a lot of options. And I think that ultimately you had a lot of injuries at that position, but you were able to survive at least and manage it because you had so many bodies at that position in training camp.
Any other thoughts on the weekend that was? Now, the rookies are still going to be here for a while. They still have work to do. Their offseason is officially over. They'll have a little break between the OTAs and minicamp and, of course, training camp, but they are here and they are in the building learning. So, I mean, they a lot of work still to be done for those guys.
Well, something that stood out, and it was with our number reveals before minicamp, was no single digits for these guys. Looks like those are being safely deposited for future use by players with some clout, I would say, on this team. So we'll see what ends up happening on that front. But Greg 2.0, Greg Newsome's wearing 20. He's not wearing 2. You know, there wasn't any negotiating with numbers and everything like that. So it looks like we'll see how those evolve over this year, but maybe more movement on that front for 2022, not 2021.
Well, and you'll hear it coming up here in a few minutes. Our interview with Demetric Felton, our new running back. We asked him about his number, and he said, "I was given that number." And Tommy Togi, was on Browns Daily. We asked him about his number, and he said, "I was given that number." And the same thing with Hudson. You know, I have a feeling the rookies were given a set of numbers to pick from, and single digits were definitely not enough.
The only eyebrow raiser, the only weird one is Owusu Koromoa's wearing 28. I mean, that's the only one that is different than what he would have been able to do in previous years. That's the only one, and it really, it's not like a single digit or anything like that. It's not the high profile number. Maybe it's like a running back's number or something like that, or another DB's. But he looks like when you see him out there with that number, with the size, he looks like a very large safety just because of that number, but he is a linebacker. So but the number makes you do a double take there for a second.
Yeah, no question. All right. 4 of our draft picks, 4 of our 8 signed. Not really a big news deal though, to get those guys signed. And it has everything to do with the salary cap and the rookie salary cap. Yeah.
And then you're seeing already some first round picks are signing around the league. And again, it's just the elimination of an offseason storyline pretty much. I mean, most of these guys you would expect to get locked up in the coming days and weeks. It's just a matter of procedural probably and getting things lined up from a paperwork standpoint. So you've still got one day 3 guy left and then the day 1 and day 2 guys. So, I mean, we'll be following it as it comes along, but it's always good to see the official signing photo. This is like, they've got a couple more opportunities in their career to put the hat on and sign some paperwork. So always good to see and good to make it official for these guys with the Browns.
All right. Is a look at rookie minicamp. Time now to hear from our running back that we selected in round number 6 of the 2021 NFL draft, Demetric Felton out of UCLA. He showed us a little bit of the speed last weekend in rookie minicamp. He brings a lot to the table, not just running the football, but he set a UCLA record for most receptions by a running back in a season. He can return kicks. He can return punts. The Browns with big plans for him. Have a watch and have a listen. And here on the best podcast available, happy to be joined by one of our new draft picks and new faces here on the 2021 Cleveland Browns, Demetric Felton, running back out of UCLA. Here in Cleveland. Welcome to the Browns, Demetric. Congratulations on being drafted. Can you even talk about or begin to talk about what this experience has been from draft day to rookie minicamp and everything that's gone into a crazy couple weeks here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, every day is just I'm still still trying to realize that, wow, I'm really here. I'm really able to have this opportunity. And it just means so much to me to be able to be here, be able to work hard for a spot. It just means everything to me. And I've been waiting my whole life for this. So it's just an awesome opportunity.
And Demetric, kind of run us through what you've been up to since the draft and kind of staying ready to go and getting in for rookie minicamp here.
Yeah. So after the draft, I was still training back home in Los Angeles and, just getting ready to fly out to Cleveland. So just making sure I had all my travel arrangements ready and making sure I was up to par, working out wise and staying in shape. So whenever I came out here, I was ready to go.
Talking with Demetric Felton, the new running back for your Cleveland Browns. And what has the day been like so far? Day 1 of rookie minicamp. Obviously, you hit the field here in just a few minutes, but what's it been like since you hit the ground here yesterday?
Yeah, so far, it's just meeting the staff, meeting everyone in the building, seeing where everything is, and then it's just straight to meetings. Seeing what the coaches want to see out of you, learning the system, and just doing everything we can to show the coaches that we deserve to make the team.
And what have you learned about the Browns since the Browns made you their pick in the draft?
I feel like the most important thing I learned is just how everyone here has the same goal. Everyone wants to win. And, last year they had a really great season. And this year they're looking to, make it further and go to the Super Bowl. And, they deserved to last year. Just, a few mishaps happened at the end of the year. But this year we plan on putting it all together to make it all the way. So just learning about the history of the Browns and seeing how the shift has been a good one.
All right. Number 25. Why number 25?
I didn't really have a choice. But I didn't really have a choice. But, one guy I could think of who wore that number is Reggie Bush, someone I very, used to love to watch. So, it's awesome to be able to wear a number that someone else represented so well.
Looking at even going back to your time in high school, you've always been a guy that does a little bit of everything, whether it's running the ball, catching the ball. Why has your career kind of followed that path? Is it just that you are good at all these different things, or why have you always been doing a little bit of everything out there in the offense?
Yeah, I feel like just my ability to be good at multiple things is very valued anytime I'm on a team. I try to show that everywhere I go, that I can fill multiple roles and do multiple things. First and foremost, I'm a football player, and I feel like that doesn't single me into one position. I feel like that makes me very versatile, and just being able to go in different places and play them at a very high level means a lot to me.
Obviously, you're running back, but you're also special teams wise, kick return, punt return, and also a UCLA record for running backs, 55 receptions in a season. Next to running the football, what do you like to do best other than obviously scoring touchdowns and winning?
Next to running the football, definitely I love to catch the ball. Being able to show my route running ability, be able to create separation against defenders, catch the ball, and get up the field and score more touchdowns. I love doing that.
And Demetric, kind of walk me through last year what your thought process was as you were getting close to the 2020 season, because that was a big year for you, even though it was 6 games. I mean, what were you thinking as you kind of waited, and how much did it benefit you that you actually were able to get on the field there?
Oh, it benefited me a lot. My junior year, I showed a lot of my receiving ability. And the 2020 year, I feel like I was able to show that I could do more than just catch the ball, that I can take a lot of carries and, be able to help my team that way. And so having those 6 games and being able to showcase that was huge for me.
Talking with Demetric Felton, running back from UCLA, and your new Cleveland Browns running back. What sold you on going to UCLA?
I would just say, the proximity to home. I wanted my family to be a part of my college career, and UCLA is a great school, has a great campus, and they had a good football team. And so it was really a no-brainer for me. As soon as I visited the campus, I was sold, and I was loyal to them.
What's it mean now? I mean, you talked about home location for college. You're a long way from there now. I mean, what's that like, and how's your family reacted to this news?
Oh, my family, they're just happy that I'm able to chase my dreams. This is something I've been wanting to do since I was very little, and being able to represent them in the NFL, means the world to me and them. And so I don't have a problem with it. They don't either. They're going to be able to come out here and watch my games. So that was just something for college. Now, I'm a man and I have to travel. So it's no problem for me.
And then what's it like coming into an offense where obviously there's a lot of talented guys, especially in your running back room with Chubb and Hunt, but it seems like the way they talk about you, it's like they've got a plan for what they want you to be able to do, and it's a lot of different things out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Seeing all the great guys on this offense, is very motivating, and I just can't wait to learn from them. I can't wait to be in the same meeting room as them, see how they go through film, see how they work out on the field. Like, I just want to learn and gather and apply it to my game and just soak up all the information that I can. And hopefully I'll be able to contribute. I hope I can add something with my versatility to this offense.
All right. We love your position, Coach. Coach Mitchell is one of the best guys that we have on our shows, and he's one of the more outspoken guys. I know he's a big fan. What kind of impression has he made on you? But not just him, but Alex Van Pelt, your OC, and then you're the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski. What has it been like to work with those three here in the early going?
Oh, it's been awesome. Just being able to learn from Coach Mitchell and all the other guys. Like, it's perfect for me. Just being able to pick their brains, seeing how I can get better in my game, it's perfect.
And then, Demetric, what have you gotten to know about some of your fellow rookies out there? What do you like about this overall class?
Oh, I just like how everyone's hungry. Everyone comes out here every day ready to work, and they're focused. And that's just going to elevate the game of everybody. So being around guys like that, I just love it.
All right. Tavon Austin, is that your favorite athlete?
He was one of my favorites. When I was in high school, I used to watch his highlight before I walked out on the field every day. His college highlights, yeah, they were one of the best ever. And so just seeing how he was versatile, he was in the backfield, he was catching the ball, he was catching punts and kick returns. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do everything. And so being able to see him do that, like, I just wanted to be just like him. So.
And have you gotten to know Mike Prefer much at all yet so far with what he maybe
Yes,
has in store for you?
Yes, sir, definitely. I've been meeting with him, talking to him before I even got drafted. When I met with Coach Prefer, we had a great meeting, and I feel like we really connected. So when the Browns ended up choosing me, I was super happy because I know he has a plan for me and that he's going to coach me up really well.
After going through the draft weekend, I know you probably had some teammates that are now across the NFL. UCLA's got a big family in the NFL. What kind of pride does that take from your end on being kind of a next kind of player from that school to make an impact in the league?
Oh, it means so much to me because I know when I was at UCLA, I used to look up to those guys all the time, and just seeing how I went from seeing them at practice to them playing in the NFL and shining. And I want to continue that tradition, of UCLA guys going into the NFL and making a huge contribution to their teams and to their cities. And so it means a lot to me.
All right, we'll get you out of here with this. Demetric Felton, running back for your Cleveland Browns, formerly of the UCLA Bruins. Big Star Wars fan. Best Star Wars movie that exists currently? If you
none of the new ones.
You can watch ones. Which one are you watching?
I'm a huge fan of the prequels, more for the story, not because of how they executed the movie, but just the story of it. So I would say Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite. All
right. Good to know. There will be a lot more Star Wars talk coming as we get a little further into training camp and we have you back. But I know you're busy.
Sir.
We appreciate the time, man. We appreciate all that you're doing, and we wish you the best of luck here in Rookie Minicamp this weekend and this offseason program, and look forward to seeing you not only in Rookie Minicamp, but obviously in training camp in July. It is coming quick. Enjoy every minute of it, and congratulations on becoming a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks to Demetric Felton for his time. And the one thing, Gribble, that I've noticed in talking to all of these guys, great guys, great heads on their shoulders, smart. A lot of these guys, maybe a little from a youth standpoint, they have a lot more wisdom than necessarily you would think about when it comes to their age and everything. Very impressive gentlemen.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you look at this rookie class. It obviously the youth of two of the top three guys, Newsome and Schwartz. Newsome, who just turned 21, Anthony Schwartz is still 20. You see guys that hit the ground running at the college level. Newsome did something that most people don't do at Northwestern, is 3 and done. That just hasn't happened very often at that school. But then you see players like a James Hudson, clearly a late bloomer at college, really only played 1 season, but it was late as an offensive tackle at Cincinnati. And then a guy like Demetric Felton, we talked about it in his interview, where he really benefited from going for that 2020 season, as truncated as it was in the Pac-12 with only playing 6 games. So a guy that did all, I think, 4+ years at UCLA and kind of established himself and got better and better as the years go on. So it's getting harder and harder to put Andrew Berry and company in a box where they say they have a type, because you've got another guy like Tony Fields, full career at Arizona, then goes to West Virginia, keeps playing. I mean, these are players with long careers that maybe don't fit in the box. A guy like Richard LeCount, long established career, not the best measurables in speed because of the motorcycle accident in the thing. So again, don't put Andrew Berry in a box with whether it's linebackers, whether it's youth, whether with the players. I mean, there's a mixed variety, and they're looking for the smart, tough, accountable players in all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, everything like that. And that's what I saw with that Felton pick.
Well, and when you look at Felton, it's a guy that Kevin Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt have to be ecstatic about. Here's a guy that can play anywhere on the field, offensively and on special teams. He could be a guy that contributes as well. You know, we so much is made about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson, but there's a place on this team for Demetric Felton, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. And it's interesting because the skills he has as a wide receiver are clearly very valuable with the direction football is going. Look at what Jacksonville did at their rookie minicamp this past weekend. Their first-round running back, Travis Etienne, only worked in wide receiver drills. And that's a guy that's pretty good at catching the football out of the backfield, but they're doing that with their first-round running back, who's going to be their bell cow guy. That skill set is very valued. I think it's why Kareem Hunt has really – the Browns are doing a little bit different with him than what he did with the Chiefs, but he's still more of a traditional running back that's just really good at catching the ball. I mean, Felton is a guy that runs routes, knows the nuances of the position, and I think, again, can find a niche, can really compete with Dearness Johnson for that 3rd spot, and we'll see how it plays out.
Well, and you can't underestimate. Let's go back to the coaching and the one-on-one. I mean, you got 3 days with Stump Mitchell, who's one of the best in the business when it comes to it. I mean, that's how you hit the ground running, and getting that time and that one-on-one work with him, and then I'm sure with Alex Van Pelt as well, and learning this system and getting it down pat. So he knows what to expect here when the veterans do report here in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
and I think he clearly knows what he's walking into with Chubb and Hunt in that backfield. It's not like he's coming in thinking I could be the guy that's going to be getting 20, 25 carries. He knows his role, and I think that also is going to kind of refine his focus on where he can make the biggest impact this year. I mean, look at what Donovan Peoples-Jones did as a 6th-round pick last year. Bided his time with patience, the opportunity knocked with an injury, and then he found a niche in that offense and has kind of poised himself to be an even bigger player this year.
Yeah, no question. All right, so what is next for this team from an offseason standpoint? We know mandatory minicamp is slated for the week of June 14th. But what happens between now and June 14th? Because we basically have a month here before that week comes, and we think that's going to happen. A lot could happen based on between the NFLPA and, of course, the league itself. But a lot of days remain between now and that point.
Yeah, so right now the Browns and the rest of the NFL are in what's called phase 2 of the offseason workouts, and that's a 1-week period where there's like a bit of a ramp up in terms of what you can do with the players. I think now you can get coaches on the field with players. It's just not a pure football standpoint. I would say it's a gradual escalation. Next week is what begins what you view as OTAs. And now clearly the big question mark is, can you do OTAs if you don't have players in the building exercising their rights as treating these as voluntary. So we've already seen some teams have gotten full participation. Some teams are at mid-level. Some teams have very little. So we'll see how this evolves. But you've got about 10 OTAs lined up between next week and when you have mandatory minicamp. So we'll see how that translates in Cleveland. I mean, this is an evolving thing where it's different with one team. It changes from one day to next with each team and levels of participation. But that's what the NFL calendar lays out. And we'll just see what the Browns are able to do in that period. And clearly the virtual stuff doesn't end. I'm sure that there's continuous involvement with virtual meetings and everything like that. So these guys are staying on top of things. It's just the on-field component that could vary from team to team.
Yep, exactly. Something that bears watching. It changes almost daily. So make sure you keep it locked to clevelandbrowns.com and wherever you get your Browns news platform-wise via the Cleveland Browns. Want to thank Demetric Felton for his time. Thanks to Jeff McDaniel for all of his hard work. For Andrew Gribble, I'm Jason Gibbs. Make sure you log on to clevelandbrowns.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe today to the best podcast available. You can also check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Browns. We're back at it next week with another edition of the best podcast available. For Andrew Gribble, I'm Jason Gibbs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the best podcast available.